Jason Horne-Francis knocked them out. He left those demons behind. Kinda Rosie makes me wanna sing and shout, and Zach Butters is always on my mind. We're back in the top two. You don't know how lucky we are. Back in the top, back in the top, back in the top two. What a win. That was a good win. We needed that win. We needed that win against Melbourne. It was at the MCG. The Melbourne, we don't write Melbourne off. Even though they're sitting outside the 8, they can be a competitive team. It was dangerous. It was a very low scoring game. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. Our midfield is what won us that game. You control the midfield. You control the ball movement. You control the game. You control the inside 50s. Everything. Our midfield is the cream of the crop. The big boy on campus. The top dog. And with that midfield, Butters, Rosie, Horne-Francis, we are very competitive. Now, our defence and our forward line, that's a different story. We need to work on that. But the wheels are in motion. The wheels are in motion with us. Top two, we had some other games go our way. Brisbane losing, that helped us. Carlton losing, that helped us. Carlton was second on the ladder. They were in our spot 4 weeks back. And then it was down the AFL ladder for them. They're currently sitting at 9th. Not only did they lose to Hawthorn, but they lost by a big percentage. We need to secure that top 2 spot now. We can finish top 4. We've got 2 games to go. We've got the LA Canaries next week, followed by the Dockers away. Now the Crows, they played good today against the Bulldogs. They look dangerous. They've got Star Rankin back in that team. Phil Thorpe in that team. Even Fogarty played well. So we can't fall asleep next week. We've got to be on an A grade, because if we want to secure top 2 and get that home ground advantage for redemption after the last few years of finishing top 2, we need to beat the Crows next week. The Crows aren't playing finals. We know that. But they want to make sure we fall down the ladder as far as possible, because they're jealous of us. We are playing finals and they're not. Don't look at the past. Let's look at the present. We're not worried about the past. We need to win now. We're in form. We've won a handful of games in a row. Let's beat the Crows next week. Let's secure that top 4 spot next week. But let's talk about the game against Melbourne. It was a low-scoring game, that game. Let me pull up some stats here. So the final score was 53-51. It was within a goal. Within a goal, we won that game. That was a very close game. Now, we've still got our coach here, Coach Box Hinkley, and Coach Cornflakes in the forward line. Our forward line needs some serious work if we're going to be competitive come finals. That is our weak spot. Our defence, Aaliyah, he played well. Zach Thatcher played well. Miles Bergman played well. But our forward line needs some work. And I mean our tall forwards. Dixon, he kicked 2 goals, but how long can he sustain this form? He's not playing the best, but he's a big, solid unit. What do we do with Dixon? Radigalia. All right, we've been playing him forward the last 3 weeks. I don't know why these commentators are saying, it's a good move that Port are playing him up forward. He's a big player. He's a solid player, but he's not kicking goals. If you want to be a forward, you've got to at least kick 1 goal. 1 goal. Radigalia has been training all year as a defender. He was traded in, as a defender. He needs to be back as a defender if he's not kicking goals. Now, Marshall came back in this week, but he got injured. Georgiades, got injured. He suffered a concussion, so he's going to have next week off. So we won't have Marshall next week. Georgiades, who's our leading goal kicker, didn't play. He's 3-4 goal player every week. Now, he's probably another week away before we have him back at our side. So we're not going to have our key forward back in. But this is when I'm thinking Coach Box Hinkley needs to start thinking like a real coach. Our forward line is our weak spot. Like I said, we only kicked 53 points that game. And I'll tell you right now, Jason Horne-Francis, we'll get to him a bit further. 2 goals. Zach Butters, 1 goal. Darcy Byrne-Jones, the 2-minute wonder, I call him. Plays for 2 minutes, the 2%er. That's all we see him the whole game. He kicked a goal. It was a good goal. But that's all. Like, we need more from Darcy Byrne-Jones. Not your 2-hit wonder. More than 2 minutes. But he's always going to get a spot on the side because he plays that 2 minutes of football and he does something good in those 2 minutes. Charlie Dixon kicked 2 goals. Narkle came in, kicked a great goal towards the end. But that was it. So really, out of our tall forwards, Dixon kicked 2 out of our tall forwards. Radicalier 0, Marshall 0. So we can't keep relying on our midfields. Our midfield is guns. When you've got Jason, Zach, Connor Rosie kicking goals, they've probably got at least 20 goals each this season. That's an average of 1 goal a game they've kicked as midfielders. We can't keep relying on our midfield. Our forwards need to stand up. This is my suggestion moving forward for next week or soon. We need to bring Solo into the side. Hear me out. Ivan Solo is a ruckman forward. He's tall. He can kick goals. Why don't we put Radicalier back in defence where he belongs? We've got Marshall out and we've probably got Georgiades out for another week. Let's bring in Soldo and play him as our second ruck. We'll keep Sweet as our centre ruck, our main ruck, and then we'll play Soldo as our second ruck, a ruck forward. He's tall, he's solid, he can kick goals. Because Dixon was playing ruck. Whenever we had Sweet on the bench, Dixon was playing ruck. Dixon is not not young enough, he's not fit enough to continue to be a ruckman. Let's bring in Soldo for Marshall this week. Let's play Marshall, Dixon, and if you want to play if you want to play Radicalier, play Radicalier. But we need those 2 in the forward line. Dixon and Soldo until Georgiades comes back in probably 2 weeks. Hopefully we get him back at least for the last game against Freo. But we absolutely took that game. We ran that game. Our skills weren't the best. At the start, the first half, I was kind of cursing a bit, to be honest, with some of our decisions. But we picked it up. We've gone to form. Travis Boak plays over 350 games, 60 games, 70 games. And he played like he could play another 2 years. Ollie Wines was solid. William Drew over the last couple of weeks has really stood out for us in the midfield. He tagged Clayton Oliver. And Clayton Oliver was nowhere. He was missing. He was a cone on the side of the road. And you know what they try and do? Then they try to put Clayton Oliver on the future Brownlow medalist, future captain of all Australian. And he absolutely ran around him in the forward line. Jason kicked 2 goals playing up forward. 21 years old. And he's tearing that midfield up. He won us the game. He won us the game on his own boot. He didn't play, we would have lost. We just won, but he made us just win. Unbelievable player. What a pickup. We traded 2 first-round picks for him, and I'm glad we did. He's going to be a superstar growing up. We'll play more games. The other player I was very impressed with was Jason's twin brother. Mental blank. It'll get to me. What's his name again? Miles Bergman. He's been playing really good the last few weeks. Dan Houston playing really well last few weeks. Logan Evans. What has he played? 8 games? AFL level, 18? He's in the team. But where's Ryan Burden? Has anyone seen Ryan Burden? I forgot about Ryan Burden. I looked on the injury list. He's on the injury list. Where's Ryan Burden? I think we can bring Ryan Burden in the side. Now, I know people are going to criticise me for this and think I'm being biased, but I'm thinking we need to drop Burgoyne for Ryan Burden. Ryan Burden can play better on the wing. He's a taller player. He's a solid player. The thing about Burgoyne, I know he's young, but he doesn't bring the house on fire. He can play football. He gets a bit of the ball playing on the wing, but he's not, he's just not a house on fire. He cannot impress me. He doesn't impress me. Somehow he made the all 40, all Australian under 22. Okay, it's Jason, yeah, who'll definitely make all Australian under 22 side. But how did Burgoyne make the all Australian under 22? Watch him play. He plays football, but he's not brain smart. There was that mark he could have marked in the goal square to seal the game for us. He drops the mark. He doesn't kick enough goals. I don't even think he kicks goals. But he's young, so I'll give him a pass because he's young. But a couple more years, Jace, you need to improve. You need to get more solid. You need to put some more beef on you. And you need to be a bit more smarter with your gameplay. Port, something I didn't really like about Port during that game was their disposals to each other. Sometimes I'll handballing it to players who already have 3 Melbourne players on them under pressure. Handballs to players that they're just going to get tackled or holding the ball. You got to be smarter with your disposal. Just because he's the closest player to you and he's right next to you holding your hand doesn't mean you just handball it to him. Lockie Jones was up and down. There was times at the start I'm like, he's a B grader. Then times he did okay. I still think we can tweak our side a bit better. And like I mentioned earlier, Soldo needs to come in. Burden, let's get Burden in that team somehow. And Georgiadis, probably another week before he's away. But Zach Butters, that goal he kicked on the run, started from the centre bounce and ran inside 50 and kicked a goal when we needed it. Our midfields are keeping us in the top 2. If our forwards are kicking 2-3 goals a game each, we're there. We've hit the ceiling. So that's the main thing we need to focus on is our forward line. And Chad Cornflakes as the forward coach, like I said, I don't know how he's our forward coach, but you need to work on our tall forwards. They need to lead better contested with, and even do some Charlie Curnows, play for some free kicks, get some chopping of the arms. The umpires helped Max score all game. But there was times when I was thinking they're going to clear the ball or kick it out their defensive 50 or into the forward 50, and they're kicking to where Max Gawn is. Why are you kicking to where Max Gawn is? He's almost 7 foot. He's 200 centimetres. And you're kicking to where Max Gawn is. And he was intercepting a lot of marks. If not, he was getting free kicks. Be smarter with the ball when you're disposing it and effectively using it more effectively. But look, we won the game. We needed to win that game. I think one more game will definitely give us top 4. Can we beat the Crows next week? Can we beat the arch nemesis next week? Like I said, they're in hot form. They beat the Bulldogs. But we did too. We beat the Bulldogs at Adelaide Oval as well. Now, we'll see how we go next week. Zach Butters, best on ground, right here. 3 Brownlow. I'm telling you, in the future, he'll be wearing a Brownlow medal around his neck. And just remember, I've got the secret select card that I'll be revealing at the end of the season. After watching this round, I'm liking it. This is giving me a bit more hope after what I watched this weekend. So maybe this is the lucky charm right here for me. My dog's going crazy for some reason. Anyway, I'll wrap things up. It was a good win. It was a close win. We need to score higher. We need to be more effective with the ball. And I'll see you all next week. Hopefully we beat the Crows.